Apple Card is the credit card created by Apple. You earn 3% daily cash back up front when you use it to buy a new iPhone 15, AirPods, or any products at Apple. And you can automatically grow your daily cash at 4.15% annual percentage yield when you open a high-yield savings account. Apply for Apple Card in the Wallet app on iPhone. Apple Card subject to credit approval. Savings is available to Apple Card owners subject to eligibility. Savings accounts by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, member FDIC. Terms apply.
Support for this podcast comes from Frito-Lay in the 2023 Snack Bracket Championship. The Frito-Lay Snack-It Challenge is underway, and fans are voting on their favorite snacks to crown champion. We're talking about prime-time matchups between the best 64 snacks in the land. Will Ruffles Ridges reign supreme? Can Doritos defend their dynasty? Or will Smart Food use their smarts for a surprise upset? Only you can decide. Get in on all the action for a chance to win up to $1,000 or a year's worth of snacks. Let your snacks be heard. Just go to fritolaysnacket.sbnation.com to vote and enter for a chance to win. No purchase necessary. Sweepstakes ends April 3rd, 2023. Void where prohibited. Year's worth of snacks awarded in the form of 52 coupons, each good for one bag of chips. See official rules at fritolaysnacket.sbnation.com.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Mavs Moneyball After Dark. This is Kirk Henderson, editor-in-chief of Mavs Moneyball, joined by Josh Bowe, who you all know is my fellow co-editor. Josh, how are you?
I'm good. But Monday game can kind of be weird with us in our lives,
Right. Much less Mavs. More than life. like getting back to work. Yeah. The Mavericks defeated the Thunder 121-114, in which was a game that they led for a significant stretch, but they never were really able to put the Thunder away. Now, we should all probably take that and be pretty happy with it, just due to the fact that the last time the Mavericks played the Thunder, they're up 14 with 4 minutes left and then managed to lose. Things got a little dicey for Dallas at moments in the fourth, but there just wasn't enough time left for Oklahoma City. I don't really know, the fourth quarter stuff always makes me a little bit concerned because it feels like the Mavericks were rather unprepared for a high school press. But I also think that you get up by 12, 13 points. There's just an inclination to let down. The Mavericks really don't have enough ball handlers. That was one of the things that kind of becomes evident in that, but we knew that. So it's kind of okay, they get away with a win, and here we go.
Yeah, and this is a feisty Thunder team. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is freaking awesome, and he is reaching that Luka tier of player where just him on the floor means you're not out of a game, and that kind of is the way it felt whenever he was on the floor, and whenever he was off the floor, they look like the team that they've been the last 4 years or so. He's really that good, and it was kind of a duel between, it was like Luka is really that good and Shai's really that good. Which team can have enough teammates around those two stars, hit enough shots, and the Mavericks decisively for once, won that battle.
Well, the secret tank that they have going right now is they might be just god awful when Josh Giddey plays. He played 31 minutes and was in -18. Now, I wasn't watching this game close enough. Honestly, I was watching my fantasy football matchups to think that he was really awful. But his sort of shooting limitations, even though he was, 2 of 2 from 3, the way that they play a little bit different just because teams are not spacing when Giddey's on the floor. So between that and Lou Dort having just kind of I don't want to say it's an off game because he's kind of not a great shooter, but he's kind of the special sauce that makes things go when they're able to defeat teams. Because Dort basically wrestles the whole evening he's on the floor. He knocks the crap out of Luka Doncic. Luka was pretty grumpy with it all evening. But, he's also, Luka's mentioned in the past how Dort's probably one of the people who bothers him the most. He says it kind of with a level of respect. So, I'm really glad they got the win because these last 2 losses do the thing with me. I'm absolutely guilty of this, where it just sort of resets the narrative timeline. and you have 2 great wins, and then you have 2 really bad losses. One loss because they made mistakes and missed free throws. The other loss because they just don't have enough talent to let guys rest. And so to not pick up another loss is just it makes me happy.
Yeah, and they're going to play the Cleveland Cavaliers twice this week, and they are like secretly one of the best teams in the NBA. I feel like Boston and Milwaukee are getting so much attention that Cleveland is just kind of sneaking right behind them. They have the best defense in the NBA, so that'll be a fun matchup. So yeah, they had to get this game. I mean,
a really stupid like just so we're here. Like I'm really I need to understand why the hell this game's at 8 p.m. while in Dallas.
No, it started at 7:30 or whatever.
No, the Cleveland game.
Oh yeah, is it on national TV?
Yeah, no, it's not. I don't think. I'm looking at it right now. No, it's not. It's just a 8 p.m. start time. I guess Cuban's thinking of Christmas fair. I don't even know. Kids aren't out of school till next week. There's just some funky. I don't know. It is what it is. I'm just bitching because I have to get up early the next day. Yeah, just kind of a Hardaway had he hit shots, took 14 threes, hit 6 of them. Luka was 3 of 10 from 3, actually hit most of his free throws, which was nice. Rebounded the ball really well. Kind of a higher turnover game for the Mavericks. I mean, they had 14, which is more they're high for them. But it's not really a complaint. Just much more of a statement of this is what I'm noticing. Bullock hit some threes off the bench. His percentage wise, it might be his best 3-point shooting game of the season, 3 of 4. Harp really went after him for not pulling the trigger on one late in the game, which was nice to hear because he does just need to keep shooting. Really weird Christian Wood game. I just don't have a lot because it's like this was like who is going to be better, Luka or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? Now, Spencer Dinwiddie nearly had a triple-double, but I'm confused. Like, I think I would need to watch this game again to sort of understand how, because I watched him make multiple awful lob passes. I guess I'm just not remembering the passes that led to points.
Yeah, he got 10 assists because the Mavericks made 22 3-pointers. So, I mean, that was kind of the game. I mean, they got down in the first quarter and everyone was kind of like, oh my God, here we go again. Because they started 12-0, then they get outscored 28, whatever that, Thunder outscored them by 5 after that, win the quarter by 5. They outscored them by more, to win the quarter by 5. And they were missing all the shots. Hardaway missed his first 4 threes, and you're just like, all right, here's a game where they're just not going to make shots and they're going to lose. And because that affects their defense, and the Thunder were like walking into open threes and transition and getting dunks, because when the Mavericks miss a shot, I mean, we all see it. It's not a narrative thing. There's data. They are one of the best defenses in the NBA when they make a shot. And I know most NBA teams play better defense after they make a shot because they get to set their defense, but with the Mavericks, they're literally the second best defense in the league after they make a basket. So, they really rely on their shot making to kind of juice the rest of their game. And that's just up and down the roster. We've kind of been talking about it for years. It's just kind of the way they are. I mean, even Jason Kidd is kind of like lamented on it. Like, he's said post-game things where he's like, well, when we're not making shots, we don't really do anything else. Like, even he knows it's just a thing with this team. And of course, they scored 43 points in the second quarter, got the same type of shots they were getting in the first quarter. They just made them, and then that was kind of the game. Like, they controlled the game from there. They never really, I don't think the Thunder really got it. I don't think the Thunder led anymore after the Mavericks took the lead for good in the second quarter. So I know it got hairy for a little bit, but that's kind of the story of the game. The Mavericks made their threes. They were 22 of 54 from 3, 40%. They were 17 of 39 from 2, 43%. So it's a good thing they were making their 3-pointers. They were awful from 2. And it was honestly worse in the third quarter, but then Spencer and Luka kind of turned it on to close the game out. But the Mavs were 7 of 17 in the restricted area tonight. That's really bad. That's really, really bad. 41%, league average is 66. They were just, they were kind of doing, remember that game? Which game was it? The Golden State game where they won and we were just thankful they won, even though we felt like the bad habits were like still there. This kind of felt like that same kind of win where they won, but the bad things that we've been noticing this season still existed. They just made their shots, and were able to kind of cover up some of it, and they were able to win. So hopefully they can do the opposite, because I think they followed that game up with a loss. So they'll need to come back strong against Cleveland. But yeah, I mean, that's the story of the game. They made the threes, and the Thunder did not make threes.
Today's episode is brought to you by Cars.com. With over 2 million vehicles and 50,000 more added every day, Cars.com will match you with the perfect car for you, your budget, your life, your style. And if you're ready to say goodbye to your current car, Cars.com will get you an instant offer to cash it in. Just start by entering your license plate and get matched with a local dealer who will write you the check. So whether you're looking to buy or sell, just go to Cars.com. It's magical.
Yeah. I think you get to the next game. We see if you can start to string something together. I don't know. The Josh Green of it all was kind of evident with elements of the game tonight, just because he provides some interesting spark. Like, watching Frank Ntilikina play basketball makes me angry.
Yeah, that was tough. He did not look good in his 18 minutes. The bench as a whole didn't look too great. I think Bullock was really the only standout. Maxey played some pretty good defense. I think he was, I mean, if you look at his plus minus, he's -4, but I think he was kind of buoyed down by Ntilikina and Wood, who didn't really have a great game either. I'm pretty disappointed in the Wood game because the Thunder don't start any big men. Like, they don't play any big men. I mean, they play Pokashevsky and Jalen Williams as their starters. I mean, off the bench, they've got that Robinson Earl. I mean, like, they play basically like their entire big man rotation is like a bunch of Dorian Finney-Smiths in terms of size. And like, that's what Wood should be good at, like, is punishing that mismatch. And he just had a really bad game. I feel like this is the type of matchup that he should be able to dominate a little bit, and he wasn't able to, and that probably made things even harder with Josh Green out, so they didn't get their boost off the bench. So, I mean, this game was, Luka, Dinwiddie, and Hardaway were kind of they really carried this team over the finish line, and they all finished with 20 points or more. So, probably don't want Luka playing 37 minutes in a game at home against the Thunder. But what are you going to do? This team just kind of has to get wins where they can get them right now.
Yeah, and that's really the best way to frame it, because going ahead, they have a pretty rough week. We're probably going to be pretty unhappy about elements of this, but it's like, I don't know. Over the last couple of days, I've lost a lot of juice when it comes to talking about this team.
That Milwaukee game, I think, broke you.
Well, it was just very disappointing. And then we wake up again today to another like narrative forming nonsense pact where it's just like, well, Mark Cuban told Brad Townsend that they missed some free throws and that's why they're losing games. And like, my first thought is like, not that like Cuban was wrong. It's just, why is he talking? That's like my first thought is like, yeah, we know they're bad at free throws. We know they'd be better if they made free throws. Like, why is this, I've learned over the years that like when Mark Cuban talks, it is news because Mark Cuban talks. So he did not say anything that wasn't factual, but it just became the weird echoing statement where it's like, well, of course, if they just hit free throws, they'd be better. But, in the timeline that I live in, they haven't hit free throws and they're not better. So I don't particularly care about what could be. I care about what is. And to lead the broadcast tonight, credit to the broadcast for this, they showed that over the last 6 seasons, the Dallas Mavericks are the worst clutch time shooting or free throw shooting team in the NBA. The worst. So they're throwing a bunch of stats that sort of like
It's not just a this season problem.
Right. It's not just, it's like at that point, like I don't know. And this is me being an asshole here, but my first thought is honestly like whatever guy that came with the building that they still have doing free throw shooting coaching, which, they probably don't have one, but it's like the way that Cuban, he doesn't let people go. It's the same people that worked there for 40 years. And it was like, it takes certain things to push them out, or they choose to leave on their own. And I'm just like, what if they have like this same free throw shooting coach who is like Rip Torn in dodgeball, who's just like, to make a free throw, you gotta dip. And I'm just like, that's just like the thing that goes through my head. I know that's not the case in this instance because sometimes you just have bad free throw shooters. Like the Mavericks have bad free throw shooters who shoot lots of volume. So that's gonna be the case. It's just that becoming a talking point, like just kind of drives me crazy because you see this notion of, well, it's not that they need better players. They just need to hit free throws. How about, and this is a wild, wild statement, how about they get both? How about they get better players and hit their free throws? And we don't waste a year of a transcendent talent. It's a wild concept. So,
well, and they also have guys that don't shoot free throws ever. So you can't be surprised that when their first free throw attempt of the game is with 18 seconds left.
Yeah.
And you're up by 2, that they might miss them. I mean, outside of Luka, only the rest of the 4 other starters combined to shoot 4 total free throws. Hardaway had 2 and Dinwiddie had 2. Dorian didn't shoot. Like, these guys don't shoot free throws because they don't dribble the ball and they don't get to the rim. So they're never going to shoot free throws. So it's always going to be this thing where when the game gets tight, it's tough because, it's your first time at the free throw line. It's, it gets psychological. And then now we're going into like psychological aspects of it that I'm not qualified to talk about, but that's also part of it. Obviously Luka being not great at free throws and taking so many of them is part of it. But the other part is these guys just never shoot free throws in a game. So when they do, it's like, oh shit. So that kind of sucks, but yeah, I don't really know what else to say. I mean, the Mavericks had 16 offensive rebounds.
That was something. That was nice.
Yeah. And that's kind of like that thing where you look at the Thunder's lineup and you're like, they should beat them on the glass. It's kind of nice when
Luka did a nice job with that. Like Luka really mixed it up at times. I mean, he had 3 or it says he got all defensive rebounds, but I remember seeing his big old body in there doing stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Finney Smith had 5, which has long been a thing for him.
He had 5 offensive rebounds and 0 defensive rebounds.
That's hilarious. That's amazing. God, now that you're looking, it's like, what is happening there? Yeah.
But yeah.
Let's see what happens here.
Just had to get him.
Yeah. Well, I don't really got anything else to say. I'm going to try to watch this stupid Cardinals Patriots game. It's just become it's wrecked. Like it has wrecked my fantasy football seasons in like multiple leagues. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's been a bloodbath, I've heard.
Yeah, like 6 different injuries. And then I'm playing like a Patriots defense against a guy. Like it's this knife fight of a matchup, but it's like he and I are both going to end with like 80 points, but he's going to end with 80.5 because he has the Patriots defense. Amazing. All right. We'll be back Wednesday evening with that Cavs game, which should be like a very much a styles make fights game because they may not have seen a defense with this much length in the paint, which is going to be interesting to see how things go from there. So, all right, Kirk Henderson and Josh Bowe, thanks for hanging out, and we will talk to you guys a little later in the week.